Hello! So today I am gonna talk about characters I would like to see in Tōkon Fighting Souls. I almost called it something else. The newly announced Marvel fighting game that will be coming out, created by Arc System Works. And also, don't mind the whole Pokemon getup I have going on. I'm doing a Pokemon trivia night with some friends, and so I thought I'd dress the part. So with this roster, or with these characters I'm gonna try to talk about that I'd like to see in the game, I'm gonna use this templates that was created by Ultima Shadow on Twitter/X. So I'm gonna be filling in all those blanks, and I think it's like 22 characters, which is good for me but bad for me, because that's a lot of characters to think about, but also a lot of characters I would like to see. If you've been around, if you've watched my Marvel Rivals stuff, you would know that I generally like to go with relatively unconventional picks. And I'm still gonna try to do that. However, when it comes to fighting game rosters, this is something I've noticed as someone who's been super into fighting games for many years, is that I've noticed that people, when it comes to fighting game rosters, are very stingy with picks. They're super stingy, because they're like, oh, if a character can do this thing, then why should we consider another character that can do something similar? So the example I'll give right now is, because Ms. Marvel, Kamala Khan, is in the roster for Fighting Souls already, then people might be like, why do we need Mr. Fantastic if she's already kind of our stretchy person, you know? And so that's something that I think we see a lot more when it comes to fighting game rosters, more than any kind of roster for any other game. Even a hero shooter, right, where Mr. Fantastic is already in the game, but I still see people wanting Ms. Marvel in it. So yeah, that's just something I wanted to point out and just talk about. And also, there are going to be some characters on this list that are relatively popular characters. I know, right? Groundbreaking for me. There are some characters that I'm like, you're popular, but I want to see you in this game. And so yeah, just to kind of point that out there. This very first one I'm going to talk about is very obvious if you have seen my videos and have heard me talk about Marvel stuff at all. And it's Colossus. It's obvious. Everyone knows, if you know me at all, I want Colossus in everything. I just want Colossus literally in everything, because he is so underrepresented in so many stuff, so many things, that I want him in this game. He would be relatively slower, of course, because he is a bigger guy, but he would hit hard if anything. And while I don't really particularly love this sort of playstyle, he is likely going to be a grappler. Very likely going to be a grappler. And it's like, okay, well, if you're gonna be the grappler, then I'll have to fucking get used to that. I don't typically play grapplers when it comes to most fighting games. I'm not a grappler type of person. I'm more of a rushdown kind of player. But if it's Colossus, I'll learn. I'll try to learn. I try to learn from Marvel vs. Capcom 2. I try to learn in X-Men Children of the Atom. I will try to learn to play Colossus if he's a grappler. Alright, next character I'm going to talk about following the X-Men stuff is Jean Grey, or Phoenix. I love Jean Grey just as a character as a whole. The cosmic adventures that she's been going on in the comics recently have been really fun to follow. Pretty wild, honestly. And I would just love to see Jean Grey. As long as they don't do the really OP Dark Phoenix thing that they did in Marvel vs. Capcom 3, I think we're fine. So just don't do that. And then just make Jean Grey just a really fun character to play. And not saying that she wasn't fun in Marvel vs. Capcom 3, but the Dark Phoenix stuff was making the game kind of not that fun. And so, to the point that it became this whole thing of if you play Phoenix or if you play Jean Grey in that game, then you suck at the game. It's kind of what people like to insinuate. So, but I would love to see her. I think she could do a lot of fun Firebird stuff, a lot of, obviously, her telekinesis, and just also, I think they could adopt a lot of the stuff from Marvel vs. Capcom 3 and try to implement it. But from what it looks like so far, it looks like they've kind of created their own movesets for the characters in this game. Because I rewatched the trailer, and Spider-Man looks like he's doing a lot of different stuff. Captain America, Iron Man. So who knows? They're very likely just gonna pull their own stuff for sure. And then along the lines of X-Men, I'm gonna talk about X-Men, these X-Men characters first, because I love the X-Men. And I'm gonna talk about Cyclops. I think Cyclops is long overdue. He's long overdue to be in a fighting game again. Listen, we always get Wolverine, and I'm not saying that I don't want Wolverine in the game. I'll spoil it. He's not on this list. But he is likely to get in the game because Wolverine is the most popular X-Men. He is the most popular. He's like the cash cow for the X-Men. And so is he likely to be in the game? Yes, which is why I don't want him on this list. Cyclops is a little bit of a different story. While Cyclops is really popular and really well known, he doesn't get put into a lot of things. Like Marvel Rivals, for example, is already like a good example of that, whereas like he's not even in that game. He's also not, he hasn't been in Marvel vs. Capcom since Marvel vs. Capcom 2. And yeah, like, so we haven't seen Cyclops in any sort of medium in like a fighting game for a hot minute. And while yes, we have Marvel Ultimate Alliance 3 that he was in, he was also like a late addition, so I don't know. I just like to see Cyclops. I think he'd also look really good in this art style that Tōkon has, like the anime art style. I think he would look really, really good, and so I want to see Cyclops in the game. And then I do want to add some villains into the mix here, because that tends to be something that people criticize with like Marvel rosters in general, is that there's usually not a lot of villains. And so one villain that I'm going to propose, which is an X-Men villain, is Nimrod. Nimrod is this like super high-tech future sentinel motherfucker. I have so many mixed feelings about him because I think he's a really cool villain because he is also kind of goofy, but he's also fucking terrifying. Oh man, but I think Nimrod would be cool. I think like having like a more sentinel kind of rep would be really cool in the game, as well as being something a little bit more different when it comes to an X-Men villain. Let me move on to like I think a relatively unconventional pick here, and that is Man-Thing. I love Man-Thing, and you know what? Okay, Man-Thing is a protector of the nexus of all realities. So why the fuck, with all of these multiversal stuff we get from Marvel, have we not gotten Man-Thing? Man-Thing deserves to like be in something, especially since we get so much of like this like alternate reality multiverse things. Give me Man-Thing. I think Man-Thing would be so fun. I think honestly he would play really similarly, probably not be as scary as Nemesis in Marvel vs. Capcom 3, but I think he'd play relatively similar to Nemesis, at least animation wise. And so I think Man-Thing would be fun. And like also, I don't know how they're gonna do like the 4v4. I think it was kind of announced that they're doing it that like you could play like as like one like leader, which is like the main character, and then just 3 assists. So you're primarily playing the one character, or you're able to actually switch off between the 4 characters, which is cool. I think that's fun. But are they gonna do like the Skullgirls thing where like you're able to input your own assist, or how is that gonna? I don't know. Who knows? This is just a long way for me to say I want Man-Thing to have an assist that can heal, because that Man-Thing is a really empathetic guy, a really empathetic character, and so I think healing should just be part of his kit. Okay, next up is Medusa from the Inhumans. So I debated between Medusa and Crystal, because I think both of them would be really cool in the game. I think they both work pretty well. Just because I know Arc System Works already has utilized characters that do use their hair to attack, I think Medusa is a pretty cool pick for that. Although I think Crystal would look really cool because she's essentially the Avatar. And so, I don't know, both of them would be good, but I ultimately chose Medusa because Medusa is like the Empress, right? She is a ruler, and I think that could serve to be really fun with character interactions, because I'm also trying to think of character interactions here. So no, with this list I thought about character interactions as well as art style. Like who would I think would look really cool in this art style? And speaking of that, this next character I would love to see, because kind of a new character. I've mentioned them very briefly before for a costume for Psylocke in Marvel Rivals, but I like to see them as their own character in Tōkon, because I think it would serve them better, and also the art style would fit really well. And it's Mariko Yoshida from the Demon Wars storyline. So the Demon Wars storyline is an alternate universe thing, and Mariko Yoshida is the main character of the Demon Wars storyline. And I think she would look so cool in this game. I think she'd look really cool with the art style of Tōkon, because like the art style that Peach Momoko has is already fairly anime-esque as it is, and so I just think it would translate pretty well. Like, I would love to see Mariko Yoshida. I just think it'd be really cool. And like let's give like some new characters, right? And speaking of which, I'm also going to talk about a character. I might be biased. I might be really biased. But it's Linlia, Iron Fist, Swordmaster, whatever you want to call him. Just because he is the new Iron Fist, I think makes sense to put him in the game. He could be a Rekka style character. And am I biased? Yes. Yes, of course I am. And the thing is, it's like, I would love for him to be in more than just Marvel Rivals, right? The thing with like Marvel video games is that it can give people more of an introduction, and more people are able to see these characters more realized outside of just like comic books and stuff like that. And listen, I doubt that even Marvel Rivals bolstered Linlia's comic appeal, so like let's just give him more notoriety. Did I think about putting Luna Snow on this list? Yes. Did I think about putting a lot of Agents of Atlas on this list? Yes. Did I put that many? No. Linlia is honestly the only Agent of Atlas character that I put on the list. I did think about White Fox. I heavily debated White Fox, but I ultimately chose against it. I also really thought about Crescent and Io. Debated against it, so it's my own list. I don't know why I'm saying it like that, but whatever. Going with like characters that don't have a lot of comic book presence. When the topic of Big Hero 6 gets brought up, I know like Big Hero 6 is more of a Disney property than it is a Marvel property, but I can't help but think like Big Hero 6 still deserves to be known outside of the Disney iteration. And so I want a Big Hero 6 character, and the most obvious pick would be Baymax, but I'm actually gonna go with Honey Lemon. Honey Lemon in the comics, her power purse is so powerful because she could pull literally anything in the goddamn world. If she wants it, she can probably pull it out of her purse. Theoretically, she could pull out the Infinity Gauntlet if she wanted to. And that's something that we don't see in the Disney movie. Like in the Disney movie, she does a lot of chemistry stuff, which I think is really cool, don't get me wrong. But like in the comics, she's just like, I'm just gonna pull out this fucking chain, you know, like it's gonna be cool. And I think Honey Lemon could also be a really cool setup kind of character, like a setup trapping kind of character in the game, which could be really fun for a really high, fast-paced sort of style of game that Tōkon seems to be. So I don't know. I think Honey Lemon would serve to be really cool. Another character I think that isn't really talked about much is Darkhawk. So Darkhawk is a really cool character, has a little bit more of this cosmic like space vibe, which that we kind of need a little bit more of that representation outside of Star-Lord and Guardians of the Galaxy. So I think Darkhawk would be a really cool character for that. He could be a really annoying character, and I say that because people hate zoners. People hate zoners in fighting games, and I think he would be a very effective zoner. I might be biting myself in the ass here because I don't like zoners. Speaking of zoners though, another character I think could be a really cool zoner and also fills in a bit of this villain quota is Swarm. Swarm is a weird character. He is a weird guy. He's a hive mind of a bunch of bees. He's a villain that's kind of goofy. I don't know. He's a weird character. But I think Swarm would be fun, especially if I'm thinking animation wise. I think they could do a lot with his animations. And so that's kind of where I was going with Swarm, and why Swarm came to my mind as a potential character is because I think the animation potential for him could be really fun. Speaking of also goofy, not really a villain. He's more like an anti-villain and not really a hero. Not even an anti-hero. He's just weird. It's Bob. Do you know who Bob is? Hydra Bob. Bob hangs out with Deadpool, and I know people will want Deadpool over Bob, which is understandable, but I think Bob would be funny because not every fighting game does this, but a lot of fighting games typically have a joke character. There's usually a character that is usually very goofy, and I think Bob can fill in that quota. I think a joke character could come in the shape of Bob, and because Bob is weird. Bob's a really strange character. Not saying that his powers are weird, because he doesn't really have powers. His personality, he's just a coward. I think that could work really fun, like hilariously in this kind of game. People are gonna hate that. Let me talk about a character that people might like in the game, and it's Daredevil. Another really popular pick, a really popular character. And the thing is, I'm surprised that we don't get Daredevil in more things. I'm surprised we don't get Daredevil in more like Marvel properties. Because Daredevil's so popular, because Daredevil, the TV series, is also very popular. we don't get Daredevil often in a lot of things. Like in video games especially. Like he was in Marvel Ultimate Alliance 3. Okay. Like Marvel Ultimate Alliance 2, and then the, what was it, like, there was like this whack ass game way back in the day. I forgot what it was called, but Daredevil was a playable character in it. I think it was developed by EA. Oh, what's it called? Oh my god, what the fuck is it called? The Imperfects or something like that? I don't know. I don't remember what it's called. The Imperfects, whatever. Anyway, Daredevil was in that game, but we don't get Daredevil a lot in like more modern properties, especially in video games. So Daredevil, I think and also I think Daredevil would look really cool. I think he would look really cool in this art style. So give me Daredevil. And then kind of following lines of the street hero level of characters, Elsa Bloodstone. I will vouch for Elsa Bloodstone to be in a lot more things than she is. I really like Elsa Bloodstone, if you didn't already know. I just think she's so cool. I think she's so cool, and I think she would also look so cool in this animation style. And speaking of Elsa Bloodstone, of going like kind of the street level characters who also deal with the supernatural stuff, Werewolf by Night. If you don't know who Werewolf by Night is, he is a werewolf by night. Like, he's a werewolf character. I think he's really cool. He's not in a whole lot of stuff either. And so that's why I think he could be really cool in this game, and just to give a little bit more of like a, oh, this is a character that exists in this game. So like, let's try to put him in. I don't know. I think Werewolf by Night would be really fun. And also have really fun interactions with also Bloodstone, as well as Daredevil. I think like there's a lot of good variety there. Next up, I'm going to talk about Agent Venom, or Agent Anti-Venom, because that's who he is right now in the comics. Agent Anti-Venom, Flash Thompson. Everyone who has watched me say how much I love Agent Venom. I would just like to see Agent Venom in something. Please, just like anything. We get Venom in a lot of stuff, and I'm not saying I don't like Venom. I like Venom, but currently Venom in the comics is Mary Jane, if you didn't know that. Not that I have a beef with that, but I just like Agent Venom so much. I think Agent Venom would look also really cool, especially as Agent Anti-Venom. Like the white suit would look really cool here. But if anything, they're probably going with like the Venom look, so like the black suit. But regardless, either one would look great. And then following with that, Carnage. We have not... Okay, I feel like we're long overdue for Carnage to be in any sort of fighting game. And like, listen, I'm not a big Carnage fan. I actually don't like Carnage that much. I think Carnage is like a little bit of an overhyped character, if I'm being totally honest. And yet, I'm also on the boat of like, when are we getting Carnage in anything? When are we getting Carnage in literally anything? I think Carnage has been long overdue. People want like more Spider-Man villain stuff. And while I did debate about putting Doc Ock on this list, or Sandman, I like Sandman a lot. And I thought about putting Sandman on the list, but I'm also like, no, it's been a while since we've seen Carnage in any sort of like video game iteration in like a fighting game, you know? And so I think Carnage would be a good pick. Let's get Carnage up in here. Currently in the comics, Carnage is Eddie Brock, so but they're probably like, if anything, they're gonna go with like the standard picks for these characters. So if they do Carnage, they're probably gonna do Cletus. Okay, next character I'm gonna talk about is a character that I would love to see, and this is going into like the more divine realm of Marvel. And so while I know people would want Thor in the game, and I think he has a good chance to be in the game, which is why he's not on this list, I'm gonna put his sister on the list, and people might be like, ooh, Hela? I was like, no, I want Angela. Oh my god, just give us Angela in something. Jesus fucking Christ. I want Angela in so many things. I love Angela so much. I think she's so fucking cool. She would look awesome in this game. And she could be our divine Asgardian rep, because she is an Asgardian. And so, like, give us Angela. Oh my god, she deserves to be in so many more things than she currently is. I just really like Angela, if you couldn't tell. Next up, I'm gonna talk about another character that's more of a one-off. And again, we kind of need more villain representation. And while I did want to put like Black Panther or Shuri on this list, I'm putting Killmonger instead. I think Killmonger could be a really cool, like a good Wakandan rep, or like, even though like, yes, he is a villain, I think he could represent really well, and I also have fun interactions with Storm. I don't know. I think Killmonger would be really cool, and while Black Panther would be fun as well, and I do think Black Panther does have a pretty decent chance to being in the game, I think Killmonger would also be a really cool representation as well, because we don't get Killmonger in a lot of stuff either. And so give us Killmonger. And people loved him. Let's be real. When the first Black Panther movie came out, people loved Killmonger. Let's be real here. And so let's get Killmonger in more things. Alright, next I'm going to talk about more of the mystical realm of stuff. And Doctor Strange is not on this list, nor is Scarlet Witch, which kind of hurt me a little bit. But these next couple characters I think would serve really well to be in the game. And first one is Agatha Harkness. Not only did we get Agatha all along, I think Agatha Harkness could be a really fun character. If anything, this is my Blaze Blues like 9 the Phantom bias coming out, because as someone who will ride or die for 9 the Phantom, I unashamedly love 9 the Phantom. I think Agatha Harkness could like play like 9 the Phantom, like, and like in the sense of like kind of like the moveset creating different magical spells and stuff that you can unleash. I think that could be really fun, and I think Agatha Harkness could do that really well. As much as I would personally love to see like old Agatha just being represented in the game, we're very likely going to get young Agatha, because like young Agatha is the main one in the comics right now. Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised. I wouldn't be surprised if we get young Agatha if she happens to make it into the game. And then we're gonna stick with the mystical realm, and I would love to see Wiccan. So Wiccan is the Scarlet Witch's son. Wiccan is in like this interesting state right now in terms of like popularity because of Agatha all along, as well as just like the comics. Wiccan's in like this weird state of like people kind of know who Wiccan is, but then also not really, especially if you come from the MCU. But if you're in the comics, you're like, dude, Wiccan deserves to be in something. And yes, like I think Wiccan would be fucking awesome in this kind of game. I also think he would look really cool. His outfit I think would look really cool. And if you are wanting a little bit more Asgardian representation, I mean Wiccan was helping with the Asgardians at one point, so there you go. And speaking of Wiccan, I can't have Wiccan without his man Hulkling. Hulkling, yes. So if we need like a Hulk kind of representation in this game, while Hulkling isn't at all really that related to the Hulk at all, like Bruce Banner, I think Hulkling would be really fun. He is more of a cosmic character because he is the emperor of his own like planet and stuff like shit and that shit. I think Hulkling would be fun. And the thing is, we need Hulkling and Wiccan together. They come as a pair. They have to come as a pair. And I'm not saying that they should be like a 2-in-1 character, because I don't think that particularly works for this type of game. And I think people are a little too attached to that idea, especially with Cloak and Dagger from Marvel Rivals. With Cloak and Dagger, it makes a lot of sense with each other because their powers are balancing one another. But Wiccan and Hulkling, their powers are different from each other, so it doesn't really work for them to be 2-in-1s. And even if like Cloak and Dagger make it in the game, I think like they could. I mean, I did think about Cloak and Dagger, and like they're like more of an honorable mention for me. But like, going back to Hulkling though, I think Hulkling would be really fun. Big, brutish kind of character. And again, if we need someone who is kind of like the Hulk that's not Colossus, I think Hulkling could work really well. If not Hulkling, then Amadeus Cho, aka Braun. I don't know. So those are all the characters I would like to see in the game. I think they all would be really cool, and especially in the art style that Tōkon's going with. And, you know, a lot of variability with movesets. And just like kind of say this too real quick, like I know we have Doctor Doom, which means that we should probably get a Fantastic Four rep. And as much as I would love to put Human Torch here, I would love to put Human Torch here. And the thing is, I think they might stand a pretty fighting chance because it's a 4v4. They're the Fantastic Four. 4v4. I think it can work. Do I think they're going to be in the game indefinitely? I don't know. Like, do I think they're going to be in the game? For sure, I have no idea. But I do think that like because it's a 4v4 and they are called the Fantastic Four, it would just make sense for them to be in the game, which is a reason why I didn't want to put them on the list. But if I had to choose between the four, like the main four, like the original family, like the first family four, Human Torch. As a Johnny Storm fan, I've been a big Johnny Storm fan my whole life. I put Johnny in, although you can there is a slight debate for Sue. I'm just saying. And like part of the reason why I didn't put all of the Fantastic Four on this list either is because of what I was saying at the beginning about like people are really stingy when it comes to fighting game rosters. and so it's just like, oh shit, like, and that's still, I think in Marvel vs. Capcom 3 when they revealed Super Skrull, that was kind of like the idea. It's just like, because Super Skrull has all 4 of the Fantastic Four's powers, why put all 4 of them in if we could just like use one character to represent all of them? I would love to see Human Torch, don't get me wrong, but I don't know. Because it's a 4v4, I think it reserves a pretty decent chance to be in the game. Other than that, that's my list. Please let me know the characters you guys would like to see in the game. And again, the roster thing that I kind of filled up is made by Ultimate Shadow on Twitter. So if you would like to, you know, fill that out on your own, go for it. So I gotta get ready to go to a Pokemon trivia night, which I am really excited to do. So I'll leave you guys until next time. Hope you have a good one. See ya.